Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at the Kitakami again, since I finally had a decent game in this ship. It's a very, very difficult ship to play. It has pretty low battle impact, and it's very, very, very expensive. The event should be out today, Wednesday, is when this Salvage event should be launching, so all of you with an obscene amount of resources in the game can get this ship. Of course, we looked at defense yesterday, and I think that's probably the better one to go for if you have a lot of resources. Maybe skip out on Kitakami. You might want it for collecting purposes, but I'm not sure it's really going to be all that worth it to play. That said though, I do have a good game here to show you guys, and a few mistakes that I have been making with this ship, and maybe continue to make here even in this match, is I'm just not patient enough. This ship seems to be wanting you to really wait, especially in that early game, and wait for those perfect torpedo salvos. And I'm just not patient enough in this game even, and certainly not in those first impressions. But as I've played it more and just kind of thought about it, it seems like we really do need to save up at least 4 of our launchers initially. Maybe not waiting the full 5 minutes, but at least wait 3 to 4 minutes before you even start to think about torping things. It can work out though. In this game we will hit quite a few torps on this Montana, and actually the next Montana coming in. Keep in mind these are deep waters that only hit battleships and carriers. They go 20 kilometers. They do ridiculous good damage, like 23,000 damage. They just are really, really long to reload. That's the real problem here. You're only loading 2 launchers at a time. You can kind of think of each side of the ship as its own zone, only loading 1 launcher per zone at a time here. So 5 minutes to get all 40 torpedoes loaded here on the Kitakami. That's pretty painful. We do get this nice smoke screen that allows us to go dark at any time, allowing us to kind of get away from bad situations, which is nice, as well as a long duration speed boost that makes us pretty quick. And just like that, 3 torpedoes is enough to take off half that Monty's health. Keep in mind, torp damage is not really healable, so that is just almost permanent health down for that Montana to start this game. So it is powerful. There are kind of seeds of a very, very strong torpedo boat here. It's just this DPM, the long wait. You just got to be patient with it, even more patient than I am being here. I'm a battleship player. I can be patient. I can play over Vermont and wait and hold my salvos, but this is a whole nother level of patience, I think. The alternate torpedoes, though, are just regular torpedoes, so they're going to hit destroyers, they're going to hit cruisers, no problem. They don't nearly have the damage though. They're like 13,000 damage, something like that. Very low damage numbers. And they go really fast though. 95 knots, at least with this full build here. And they're okay. We're actually going to hit a couple on Monty there, showing you the strength of the deep waters. They get spotted so close to your ship that, well, poor Monty with its old school rudder shift of like 22, 23 seconds. Yeah, he ends up turning back into them there. So we're already up to near enough 100k damage here, 5 minutes into the game. That's a pretty good mark for a ship. 100k damage in 5 minutes. So it can work. It's close. That said though, I think I'm happy it's a little bit underwhelming to just bad, just because it's such an expensive ship, right? It's not great to have a ship like this one be very good, because then it's just so easy to call out pay to win. Either I'm making a video where I'm just disappointed in it and calling it not a good ship, not worth playing, or we get something like the defense where instantly we get the pay to win comments already. It's kind of interesting. It's a very hard line to balance, very difficult thing to balance with the Kitakami here in particular. And considering this one is just so ridiculously expensive, I think it's probably a good thing it isn't OP. That said though, I do think it could be buffed. I wouldn't have minded seeing this bring in a gimmick from World of Tanks. Not that I've played that game a lot, but I know some of the Italian tanks in that game have auto loaders that reload faster, or auto reloaders I think they're called. There's a difference in that game. Sorry, I haven't really played the game. It's probably not a good thing for me to go into crazy details here, but basically the deeper you go into your magazine, the slower your reload gets. I hope I'm getting that right. So you want to reload everything to start with, and then when you're only firing that first shell out of the magazine and you try and reload it, that's faster than if you're trying to reload the last shell in the magazine again. So for Kitakami, that might look like the initial torps that we're reloading here are going to be around a minute or maybe 80 seconds like it started as. Maybe we make these first reloads longer. And as we load more launchers down the side of our ship, each consecutive one reloads faster than the last one. That could have been interesting. Maybe rewarding patience initially and giving you some decent Torp DPM once you get them all loaded later into the match, but not giving you that initial burst of damage right off the bat. I don't know. Keep in mind, this is a very, very squishy ship here. We are going to get extremely lucky that this Kronstadt just doesn't one-shot us here. Carrier coming in, very scary thing to deal with. Fortunately, Kronstadt doesn't lead quite enough. Our speed boost does give us a lot of speed, so you do have to lead this thing quite a bit once that speed boost is activated. Keep in mind, we also have a deck armor of 30 millimeters? 30 or 32 millimeters? I forget which one it is. We'll look for it. But that means the deck armor, which is exposed Citadel, by the way, is going to get Citadeled by all HE. It's going to get overmatched by a lot of battleships into that Citadel. It's crazy. It's a very, very squishy ship. So I think it's okay, maybe, for a ship like this to get some better torpedo DPM than, say, a Shimakaze or something like that, where you don't have a Citadel, you have better concealment. You're going to be a little bit better at getting closer to your targets than a Kitakami does. I'm very wary of the radars in this game when I'm playing a Kitakami. It's pretty scary. We only have 33,000 HP. I have been one-shot a couple times already in this Kitakami, even playing pretty passive. It's a tough ship to play, man. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think about that auto-reloader idea. Maybe those of you that have played World of Tanks more than I have could chime in a little bit more, since I don't really know what I'm talking about when it comes to that. But essentially, as you get to the end of those final torpedo launchers towards the back of the ship, those ones reload fastest, but they take a while to get there. That could be interesting. Here we're going to do a classic of torpedo ships where you open up on an enemy ship to make them turn into your torpedoes. Classic, as always, works well with the Kitakami here. We're already up to 210,000 damage. Those deep waters smashed the Montana up in B10 square there, so that was nice to see. 20 kilometer range with 0.9 detect is pretty powerful, even though it takes forever for these things to launch. If people maneuver at all, you're just gonna miss a lot of the time. There were quite a few matches where I just did nothing for 5, even 10 minutes. I would have no damage in the game, even trying to launch torpedoes, just because it's a hard ship to play. Keep in mind, this is my best game. I'm sure you guys saw the first impressions where I didn't have a lot of battle impact, so don't think every game's like this. But I did want to show you one where I at least did something. Managed to do at least some damage with these torpedoes. Ran down a DD with our guns here at the end of the game. 215k, 11 torp hits. So the torp hits do a ton when they connect. It's very hard ship to play, very hard ship to balance as well. As for the build, it really hasn't changed. I've really just gone all in on torpedoes, of course, because that's what this ship is going to be doing. I really should have been more patient, I think. I will play it. I'll keep playing it some more, just trying to figure out ways to make this thing work. Patience was the one thing I was doing wrong. I think I could also use the main guns a little bit more. Maybe just hide behind an island and farm as little as we can with these kind of wimpy main guns, but try and farm a little bit over an island or something like that while we wait for those torpedoes to load or something like that. There's some value there that I am missing out in even this good game that I did have. Concealment's amazing on this ship. It's very close. If you gave it double the torps, right? Like, let's say we loaded 4 torp launches at a time instead of just 2. I think it could very quickly become OP. It's very, very difficult for me to really say what this ship needs without it becoming just flat out OP, and then it's a pay-to-win ship because it's just so ridiculously expensive. Very, very difficult thing. Yeah, low HP. Yeah, of course we're going all in on these torpedoes. They are good torps. They just kind of load really, really slowly. So you feel like you lack battle impact for minutes at a time. Maybe even half the battle at times. It's tough. But that is the build that I'm looking at here with this ship. And real quick, just looking at the armor here. Yeah, that is Citadel deck armor, 30 millimeters. So 457 is going to overmatch right through you into that. Pretty painful. And then, of course, the armor on the sides, only 65. So, going to arm a lot of shells. And it's not the skinniest ship in the world, so it's definitely going to arm most battleship shells. It's fast, though, with that speed boost, so keep in mind how that Kronstadt hit back here and did almost no damage to us. Got very, very fortunate there. Otherwise, we probably would have exploded. Still would have been a decent game if we had died there, but not quite as good. So there you go. That's the Kitakami. The event should be out today. If you have resources, you could start playing it today. Let me know what you think if you're playing it, and what do you think of that Italian auto reloader idea? Could be interesting, although that in itself would need some balancing tweaks to make it not insanely OP as well. So very tricky ship, very difficult thing to play, make videos on, that kind of thing. But thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.